Screencast 3, Learning Disabilities. Writing, spelling, and speaking. Here are 3 facts about writing, spelling, and speaking. The first fact is that literacy encompasses a child's ability to create and write out the alphabet. The second fact is that spelling refers to a student's ability to create words that are grammatically correct, but they also judge the writing ability of the student. And lastly, spelling encompasses one's ideas in print and are often 2 different processes. Here are some ways to assist students with spelling. One way that you can do this is to make word dictionaries, and they can enter new words to proper pages. One page could have words that start with A through K, and the other one could have words that start with L through Z. And when they would learn a new word, they would put the word on the proper page, and they would eventually have their own word dictionary. A second way to assist students with spelling is through digital readers. Digital readers help students pinpoint mistakes that they have when writing their papers. A third way to assist students is when looking at words, they put dots under the sounds that they hear. If you were to hear the word that, you would put a dot underneath the TH, the A, and then the T. That. Spelling methods. Some spelling methods are that you can put the dots under the sounds that you hear within the word, like I last said. Another one is that you can create word families. Word families are words that all sound the same, like he, she, me, we, and be. They are all tenses, or people. Another spelling method is marking vowels in each word. Here they are able to pinpoint which ones are the vowels and which ones are the consonants. Another spelling method is for the student to close their eyes and plug their ears and verbally spell the word. And the last way is that they can repeat what you say. Through repetition, it is easier to understand and grasp knowledge. Teaching handwriting. A few tips to teaching handwriting. One is that cursive can be taught at the 2nd grade level of reading fluency. Another is that emphasizing basic shapes and different styles is important in writing. Different words have different shapes in their letters. Another way to teach a student how to write is by teaching them how to copy what you are doing. Another way that they can do this is through tracing techniques. One way that you can do this is by creating a piece of paper with a letter on it and then laminating it. The student can then take a marker and trace over it. Another technique is through computer practice. Technology is helpful in assisting students in handwriting. One last way is to teach combinations of letters first. When creating words, it is easier to take a couple letters at a time and then move on to the rest of the word. Some mechanics of writing for older students with LD. One mechanic in writing is to proofread. LD students have a hard time proofreading and jump to the conclusions. They need to realize that proofreading their writing will assist them in completing their writing. Another method is analysis of sentences. When students understand that they need to analyze each sentence that they have, they are finding verbs, nouns, and adjectives. They are pinpointing what each thing is in each sentence and correctly formatting each sentence. Word processing programs also help in assisting students with writing. One last way for LD students to learn how to write properly is to learn what a proper paragraph consists of and what the structure of it should be. Students should be told that paragraphs consist of 3 to 8 sentences per paragraph. Here's the lesson plan that I have created for writing skills. This writing skill that we will be learning is doing verbs. The students will be able to identify and list off 5 doing verbs. Some examples of these are singing, dancing, running, skipping, and jumping. The Common Core standard that reflects this is the knowledge of language. Hopefully they will come in knowing already what a verb is, and we can answer the question, what is a verb? We can start by having a rap song for verbs, which will anticipate and hook the students. The purpose will be for students to be able to identify and list off what doing verbs are. We will then have them model, and we'll be able to see if they can physically demonstrate what the verbs actually are. So for jumping, we could have them show us what jumping is to actually prove that we know what a verb is. Guided practice along the way will be what they do together. They will come up with verbs and demonstrate them together in small groups. Then later we will check for understanding and make sure that they get what we are trying to teach. We will ask them questions and they will share verbs. Independently, we want them to make a list of verbs, and then to close it, we will have them create a poster. When at home, we want them to make a list of the verbs that they see throughout the day as a homework assignment, and come back the next day and share them in class. Lack of readiness. Lack of readiness is when children come to school with differing levels of readiness. Preschool is meant in preparation for readiness for school. Many kids who do not go to preschool and have not had a wide range of experiences may not be physically ready. Checking a student's IEP can give you an idea of what their readiness level really is. Visual perceptual deficits. This is when many students that are disabled have visual perceptual deficits. An example of this is when a student does not see that 4 lines forming together forms a square, or they can't count without manipulatives or objects in front of them and touching them physically. Many students have this. Poor spatial sense and poor memory. Poor spatial sense is when students have difficulty with concepts like over, under, or more and less. Poor memory is when students are having to count with their fingers, make slashing marks on their paper. This means that they may need a calculator or a times table or any type of assistive technology that will help them out. Assessments for understanding. There are certain tests that students take at the beginning of the year or throughout the year to track their progress and figure out where they really are. The purpose of these math assessments is to determine the level of understanding that the student possesses. These tests also aid in determining what the student already knows and what needs to be worked on. These are a couple examples of some tests that prove this. The first test has addition, you can tell what time it is, and has story problems. As you continue on to the second one, you see that it's a little bit more challenging. There's multiplication, division, and fractions. Levels of understanding. There are 3 levels of understanding. The first one is concrete. This is when a student knows how to solve a problem easily due to a long and large amount of practice that they have had doing it. The second is representational. This is when the student can look at something and be able to change it to get the right answer. And the last one is abstract. This is when the student understands something so well that the problem can be solved in their head. This is a math lesson that I have created. Here, the students will be learning how to fill out a counting chart. Through this, they will be able to count to 100 and use the chart correctly. The Common Core standards that apply to this are counting and cardinality. Hopefully, they will already know how to count to 50, and the questions that we will ask them are, what are the next set of numbers? To hook them into the lesson, we will sing a number song together to see what they already know. The objective of this is that the students will be able to count to 100. Modeling will be through physically singing the numbers in class together. Then what they'll do is they'll fill out part of the chart and then sing that one part together. They could do this in rows. And then to check for understanding, I will ask random questions about what is the next number or what's the next sequence. Independently, students will be able to fill out the chart by themselves. And to close, we'll sing the song one last time together. On their own for homework, we will have them count certain things that they find in their homes and share it the next day.